When you come to Chicago and you're looking for something to eat, you might think about a hot dog, you might think about a pizza, maybe an Italian beef. But what few people know is that Chicago is actually home to the best sandwich in the world. I'm talking, of course, about the breaded steak sandwich, and if you don't know what that is, that's why we're here. The goal here is to bring a little piece of Chicago deliciousness to your kitchen table, no matter where you live in the world. And to do that, we're gonna take a field trip to a spot that does this sandwich very, very well, take a peek under the hood, see how they do things, then bring it back to the crib and see how close we can get our homemade sandwich to the original. Down on Chicago's south side, beneath the hum of the expressway in the Bridgeport neighborhood, lies a true Chicago institution that's been serving locals since the 40s. Ricobenes isn't just a restaurant, it's a testament to the city's immigrant roots, and its breaded steak sandwich is straight up legendary. Matter of fact, one writer from USA Today back in 2015 thought it was so legendary that he coined it the best sandwich in the world. The article quickly gained attention for its bold claims and controversial tone, but whether or not the breaded steak sandwich truly deserves the title of best ever, well, that's for you to decide at the end of the video. Not to be a cornball, but this isn't just a sandwich, it's a story, right? Of Italian immigrants bringing old world flavors, melding them with the American Midwest, and creating something unapologetically their own. And we're in luck because third generation owner Rosario Ricobene has opened his doors to give us a lesson on this hearty, beef-laden masterpiece. So as far as the origins of the breaded steak sandwich go, where did it start? Who started it? Who invented it? Do we know anything about this?
It's honestly kind of unknown to us. I believe my grandparents brought it back to Chicago from Italy. They grew up with it. They brought it here. They started the restaurant. Yeah, and somewhere in the 70s it came about.
When did your grandpa come here?
Early 1900s.
Okay.
Him and my grandmother.
From Italy, where at?
Nicosia in Sicily.
Why do you think it's not as popular as maybe an Italian beef, a hot dog, pizza?
It's more of a southside creation. The city workers, the working class, I believe, goes more towards that sandwich than a beef sandwich. I mean, the beef sandwich has its own,
of course,
legendary right, obviously. I believe the breaded steak sandwich has its right with that sandwich as being one of the top sandwiches in Chicago.
People coming to Ricobenes for the first time, what's the one item that you think is maybe slept on that people should try?
100% the chicken Vesuvio sandwich. It's a breaded chicken. We dip it in garlic butter, serve it with mayo, lettuce, tomato, and onion. It kind of gets its name from the Vesuvio dish, the chicken Vesuvio with the potatoes and peas. And it's just phenomenal.
Should we slide back?
Absolutely, let's try it.
All right.
The famous breaded steak sandwich starts with just that, breaded steak. Here's the thing, Ricobene's technique for how to pound the skirt steak perfectly flat is a family trade secret passed down through the generations. Some of the guys at Ricobene's responsible for flattening the steak in the morning before service have been working at the restaurant for upwards of 20 plus years. Don't worry, I got a few tips of how we're gonna pound the steak at home, which will get a pretty thin end result. More on that later. Once the steak is fried, Rosario folds the beef frisbee in half, then baptizes it in the red gravy, aka tomato sauce. From there, he scoops on a bit of giardiniera, which are pickled hot peppers stored in oil, then rains on the shredded mozzarella cheese. That's it, plain and simple, but the combo is elite.
That's a double wrap situation. It's an infant.
There you go.
Oh my God. I just want to coddle it.
Good eating there.
Yeah. The breaded steak sandwich, the Mondo size. Now onto the Vesuvio, I guess?
Let's do it. These are the breaded chicken.
Okay, so it would be a crime not to talk about the Vesuvio Italian classic, or as many refer to it, the chicken Vesuvio sandwich. This sandwich is sort of the yin to the breaded steak sandwich's yang, if you will. It's unique to Ricobene's, and trust me, it can bring the heat when pitted against the best sandwiches on earth. Instead of red gravy, the pounded chicken is dipped in a vat of garlic butter before it's gracefully laid on fresh bread, then topped with a gloop of mayo, the Lord's best green, aka shredded lettuce, some onion, some sliced tomato, and a scoop of that spicy, crunchy, tangy giardiniera. One thing to note is when you order, you're given the option of a regular or king size. Now the regular is already massive, but the king size, yeah, that's enough to feed an adolescent brown bear.
Just to show you how Mondo that massive steak sandwich is. This is already a massive sandwich. Then you got that. Come on.
You gotta eat it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice.
All right, I think we gotta hit the breaded steak first. Oh, look at that thing. The fact that you can get all that in the bread is pretty impressive. Oh my God, dude. It's incredible how you get it that thin. And that's a proprietary technique.
Absolutely.
Secret right there. That's kind of what sets your sandwich apart,
Yeah,
right?
our technique is everything with how we get it to that size, that thinness.
That's, I mean, it makes a sandwich. I think that's going to be the challenge here, is trying to do justice to the sandwich and get it as thin as you guys do.
Yeah, that tenderness is hard to hit with a skirt steak.
All right. You'll have to tell me how I do.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's an Italian murder scene with the red sauce. Clear the board, Zamboni the table. The Vesuvio, the sleeper on the menu, or to some, the well-known Vesuvio. But, oh my God, it looks the exact same, but with chicken and like vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing's wild, man. A perfectly cooked, crispy piece of chicken dipped in garlic butter with the mayo, the giardiniera, the veggies to kind of help lighten it up, because it needs it. It's a heavy one.
It does.
You said that there's a battle between the chicken sandwich and the breaded steak in terms of like what you sell more?
Absolutely. It's a good battle going on right now.
Wow. Okay. Call it slept on, maybe it's not, but it's a contender.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Thanks for showing us in the back and teaching us the way that is the chicken Vesuvio and breaded steak sandwich.
Sure.
Here at Ricobenes,
I appreciate you coming by.
Of course, man.
Can't wait to see your version of it.
Yeah, wish me luck. So in order to recreate these sandwiches at the house, there's a couple things we gotta do. Let's start with the breaded steak. All right, so here we got an inner skirt steak cut, right? There's one thing that we gotta talk about, and that's getting this thing as flat as possible. To do so, we're gonna use this guy here, right? This is called the Jacquard tenderizer. It's literally, you know, just a bunch of scary needles in this like pressy thing. Pretty inexpensive on Amazon. I'll leave a link below. Look at these little holes that are kind of just jamming right into the meat. It's gonna help things press out. It's gonna make it a little more tender too. Other side. So before we pound it out, little pro tip, we're gonna take a spray bottle filled with agua and just kind of moisten the surface of the meat a little bit, which is going to help the plastic slide around the meat without completely destroying it. Now to pound this thing out, you can use a rolling pin, you can use a special meat mallet, you can even use a wine bottle, right? I'm gonna go with this because I have it. When you're flattening your meat here, I'm not hitting it straight up, I'm spreading it a little bit. I mean, look at that. That is quite flat-ski. Now just rinse and repeat with all the cutlets that you want to make. So for the chicken Vesuvio, we're gonna start with a chicken breast and do largely the same thing to this as we did with the beef. And that's our chickie, baby. Look at that. Very, very thin. We're gonna close that up, and we are ready to bread. Here we got our dredging station. Seasoned all-purpose flour with salt and pepper, egg wash, Italian breadcrumbs. We're gonna start with our buff here. We're gonna go into the flour, into the Washington, and to the BC. There we go. That's one. Rinse and repeat with however many you want to make. All right, so for the breaded steak, we need sauce, right? Gravy, red sauce. This is very, very simple. My sauce comes together quick. Let me show you how to make it. Medium pan over medium heat. We're gonna add some butter in, a squirt of olive oil. Once that's all melted, a little bit of garlic, just a couple cloves. Just gonna swirl that around a bit, just until it becomes fragrant, right? Maybe like 30 seconds. A little bit of tomato paste. We're gonna move that around just till the tomato paste toasts off a tiny bit. In with the tomato puree. Just gonna rinse out that can. Oregano, lechugs, a little bit of red wine vino, black pep, and a pinch of kosher. Just kind of move that around a bit. So we're gonna let this blip away for 20, 30 minutes, just until it reduces down and thickens oh so slightly. Like I said, this is a quick sauce, so we're gonna pop this on the back burner and finish it off. Okay, so we're frying here. Little different of a setup than usual. I've chosen to use this wok because it has a larger circumference and a bigger surface area because these things are big. Yeah, that's not gonna fit in your typical Dutch oven. All right, steaks finito. These can sit out and chill for a bit while we work on the chicky. All right, Vesuvio. All right, sauce is good. We're ready to build, but first we gotta talk about Witt, right? This is an Italian style loaf. This could be a French style loaf. This could be a baguette. Just make sure that it's not super crispy. You kind of want almost like a soft, more tender loaf than a super crusty baguette. You know, makes it a little easier to bite into and it steams a little better. Our steak came out to look like that, right? That would be a nice little mini sandwich, but I think I'm gonna stack them together to get like kind of a nicer, larger size. So we'll put that there, okay? Yeah. The perfect sop sponge for our sandwich. Ooh, we're going in right into the sauce baptism. Whew, thing's crazy. One piece there. Put that right over on that side. The mozzarella full fat. This is giardiniera, right? I've talked about this so many times on the channel. This is a Chicago-style Italian hot pepper relish, right? It's basically pickled vegetables in a spicy relish. It's really, really good stuff. So giardiniera is stored in oil. And at Ricobenes, they just kind of spoon it on and all that oil goes into the sandwich, which is fine. It's definitely a vibe. But for my sandwich, I decided to drain the giardiniera just to keep the crunch a little more front and center. This thing's already sloppy enough. And I say that with love. I like giardiniera, so we're putting a lot on there. I want this to be a little cheesier too, so a little more cheese. Now the sweet peppers are just, right, roasted bell peppers. So we're gonna put some of those on too. Put a little more sauce on there. Rosario did this. Man seems to know what he's doing. A little extra sausagery. They don't do this at Ricobenes, but fresh Parmesan. Now the hardest part about making the sandwich, rolling it up. All right. We're gonna let this sit in the back, kind of warm up, let that cheese goo up and melt a bit while we build the chicken Vesuvio. All right, so this is garlic butter that I went ahead and made. It's just garlic, parsley, little salt, pepper, and butter. We're starting off with the exact same bread. They don't do this at Ricobenes, but I'm gonna go a little extra mayo underneath because mayo is life, mayo is love. Just kind of spread that around edge to edge. We got a little bit of mayonnaise right in the middle. A couple of thin slices of tomato. Some white onion. I'm gonna add a little bit of giardiniera. Why not? Just a touch. And God's gift to earth, the best green on the planet, shredded lettuce. Shredded lettuce, iceberg lettuce. Something that we're gonna do that Ricobenes does not is just a touch of parsley, why not? And then a squeeze, a spritz of fresh lemon. After all, this is chicken Vesuvio. Okay, so now we can just kind of globadoop this up. Remember, there are two steaks in here about there, so if I cut it, I want a good cross section. So must I go a little bit that way? That's the question. Let's just send it in the middle and see what happens. Oh yeah, I think that worked out. What do we think? We'll side by side here. Does it look like the Ricobenes one? It's definitely got its own vibe going on, but it's similar. All right, let's bite into this thing. I can wait no longer. Wow, this part looks very similar here. Theirs is probably a little flatter, but I still like the color of ours. Similar but different. The bread's a little different. Their steak is a little thinner. It's a little more substantial, if that's even possible. How they get it so thin at Ricobenes? That mysterious top secret technique? We'll never know. I think Rosario's taking that to the grave. I think we did this thing justice. I think so. The Vesuvio. I mean, come on, look at that thing. I heard you can order this on garlic bread too, which is crazy because it's already dipped in garlic butter with the toasted garlic bread. That would be so good. You should try that. I am all about the pounded crispy chicken nugget. I really dig the addition of that parsley in the salad. The lemon juice is zingy and bright, something that it does add a little something to it, but it's really interesting because the original sandwich at Ricobenes is like so simple to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, I would do this, I would change that, I would add something to it to make it a little better. But the crazy thing about it is it's so simple and so good that you don't actually really need to do anything to it besides add your onions, tomato, lettuce, and mayonnaise. That's it. It's really simple and it's really good, and the beauty is in the simplicity in this case. But yeah, it's just a bright, lemony, crunchy, but also super rich and decadent. We dipped this entire piece of chicken in garlic butter, dude, you know? Like, it's gonna be rich. The place is known for their breaded steak, and they're really good, but you gotta try the chicken Vesuvio sandwich. And if you're making the breaded steak, I really think you should also make the chicken Vesuvio because it's just so simple, so delicious, and garlic butter, dipped chicken, I mean. Jessica, honest thoughts and opinions.
It's damn delicious.
That's, which sandwich is that?
The Vesuvio.
What do you like about it?
Everything.
Hard-hitting news. The chicken Vesuvio and breaded steak sandwich at the crib. You let us know. How did we do? Do they look similar to the one from Ricobenes? Are they different? Do you think they look great? Do you think they suck? Let us know in the comments. And if you are planning on making it or enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the Chan if you're new to the Chan if you're not new to the Chan. So, best way to support is over at the Grocery Fund, aka the Patreon. Helps us do everything, helps us bread the steak, helps us pound the boof, helps us keep the lights on. But if you can't financially support, totally fine. Come say what up in Discord. We're cool and we're chatting. I'm doing giveaways every now and again. We're posting pictures of our food. It's like a fun little community, so come say what up. That's all I got for you this time, so ciao.